I don't know about you guys, but 2026 so far has been crazy. It's the first day of spring today as I record this video, and we're actually supposed to hit almost 90 degrees here in Denver. Unreal. Not only that though, we actually also were just ranked as the #1 state in the entire country for income growth. And just this past year, Colorado actually finally surpassed 6 million residents. So as you can see, there is a lot going on right now in Colorado, and I'm excited to share this brand new episode of Living in Denver with you, where I'm gonna be sharing with you guys 5 really unique and specific things of why it's such a great time to come out and live in Denver, Colorado. Excited to share this one with you guys. Stay tuned. All right, so as I said, this one's gonna be really fun today because it's positive and it's exciting. It's a lot of good stuff happening here in Colorado. Before we get started though, just really quick, all that info down below. That's my contact info. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions as you go through this. My name's Adam. I'm a Colorado and Denver native of over 40 years. I love this place and I love just connecting with you guys. So make sure you do that. But I want to really just give you as much value as I can today. So the first of these 5 reasons is going to be talking a little bit more about how Colorado was just ranked as the #1 state in the nation for income growth. And there are a lot of reasons why I think this is really important, but the biggest is just showing that Denver is at least on the right path. We're in the right direction when it comes to affordability and just the quality of life of people that can afford to live here. So, you know, affordability has always been a topic, not just here in Colorado, but I'm sure probably in the state that you guys are currently in if you're watching this video right now from somewhere other than here. But what's really, I think, exciting about this first talking point is that Denver is going to see a lot more growth in the future when it comes to real estate specifically, just because of this income growth. When incomes grow, when incomes improve, what that means is more people are hopefully willing to get back in the market, maybe buy and sell homes, as well as the affordability piece. So, you know, affordability is always something that's a big talking point anywhere you consider moving to. But the way I like to break it down is, you know, a lot of times with real estate, you look at 2 things. You look at the median income of a family. You'll also look at the median sales price of a real estate, of a home. And oftentimes in Colorado, that number is so different from one another, there's a very big disparity. Now, states that have a much more balanced ratio between these two, those are the states that have a lot more healthy affordability and oftentimes are a little bit maybe easier to move to. So Colorado's had a little bit of a stigma with this recently, and I just wanted to share that the fact that the income growth is the highest in the nation, hopefully that means that Colorado, we're on the right path. And hopefully it'll continue to get better and better, but hopefully we're at least taking that next step and we're in the right direction when it comes to affordability through this better income growth here in Colorado. So really, really good news on that one. I want to start off with something really positive, but now I want to talk about the second point, which I think is also just as important. And that is how new communities are really being built all around Denver that are promoting the lifestyle that is so important here in Colorado. And if you guys are considering coming out here, I'm guessing there's a few different reasons, but one of them hopefully is just to be in an environment that is so positive and outdoor friendly and just gives you this energy from being able to have fun activities you get out and do every day, whether it be hiking, biking, maybe getting up to the mountains and going skiing in the winter. You know, whatever it is, there's so much to offer. And in Denver, some of these newer build communities are really embracing that. So, you know, what do I mean by that? Well, there's different varieties of styles of homes these days, obviously. For example, homes that are built in master plan communities. I actually live in one right now, which is in the Grant Ranch community, which is in Littleton. And I'll just use this one as an example first. You know, in Grant Ranch, we have all of these really, really great trails that have purposefully been built into the community because it was a master planned community. But not just that, we also actually have a ton of water, which is so rare to find in Denver, where you could go paddleboarding, fishing, sailboating, all these fun activities right out the back door of a lot of our homes. So again, this is just an example of how these communities are really being built to embrace that, to make sure that when you're living at your home and in your community, you don't have to go far to enjoy being a Coloradan, living in the outdoors and the beautiful surroundings that we have here in Denver. You know, one other example of this before we move on is South Shore. So I have some really, really close high school friends that I actually helped sell her house a few months back, and it was in South Shore. And this is actually in Aurora, so a little bit different area from Littleton, a little bit more to the east. But in South Shore, just another kind of example of this. In their master plan community, they have these amazing, amazing clubhouses. One of them even has a tap room where residents can go there and have up to 2 free pints of beer a day. I mean, just really creative, cool things like that. as well as, again, private fishing ponds, trails for days and days and days. I mean, miles and miles of trails, as well as just lots of great parks and just open spaces that can be enjoyed with your pets, your kiddos, whoever. So just really, really fun communities that are popping up all around Denver. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize until they come out here and I start taking them around and showing them some of these. So there's lots of cool stuff out here. You just have to know where to look. Now I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about my third reason why Colorado and Denver specifically is just an awesome place to live in 2026. And this is going to be dealing with weather. Now, as I filmed this video today, as I said in the intro a few minutes ago, it's the first day of spring and we're actually supposed to hit a high of 88 degrees today. Now, I know that's a little bit of maybe of a buzzword, like I'm kind of a clickbait. Obviously, that's not normal here in Denver in March, but it's just an example of how every year that I'm out here, I've been here my entire life, 42 years, almost 43, but every single year that I'm out here recently, I feel like the winters get more and more mellow, just easier to deal with. And that's not always going to be the case. We do have years where we have massive storms, especially in months like March, but it's just such an easier to deal with winter than a lot of people realize. And a lot of people think that, Colorado and the winters are just going to be absolutely miserable if you don't love skiing. You're going to be dealing with, driving through the snow all the time, freezing cold, windy, shoveling your driveway all the time, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, you are going to deal with that occasionally. But the key word there is occasionally. I actually have a snowblower and I haven't used it once this year, as an example. But the icing on the cake here is that actually there's so many activities you can do year-round practically at this point here in Denver. If you guys are golfers, for example, I've literally seen people golfing every single month of the year this past year. Driving around just a couple weeks ago in February, I saw people out on the golf course here in Denver. So there is a much more mellow side to the winters than people realize until they come out here. And that's just a really important thing, especially for people that might be on the fence of whether they even want to move out here. And the reason for that is they're scared about the weather. So really, really great weather in Colorado and Denver specifically. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard the claim to fame of, Colorado has 300 days of sunshine a year. And yes, that is true, but there's so much more to it than just that piece. And a lot of it, again, comes down to how quickly the weather comes and goes. And a great, I think, better quote to think of when you guys start talking about Colorado, instead of the 300 days of sunshine, I like this one better. If you don't like the weather in Colorado, just wait 15 minutes. And that is so true. There are days where it could be blustery cold and windy and nasty, but you just think about how it's going to be a lot better tomorrow and you get through it. So just want to kind of leave you guys with that. The weather here in Colorado and Denver specifically is so much different than a lot of people realize, and it's much better in my opinion. Okay, so now I want to share with you guys the fourth reason, which also is very, very important. It kind of falls in line with that weather, and that is just the active, healthy outdoor lifestyle that people embrace and live here. And this is something that I'm talking to any of you guys out there that are, really big on, I don't want to use the word New Year's resolutions, but just people that are really purposeful and intentional about improving their lives through being healthier and enjoying the outdoors and just having a better connection with the outdoors and just Mother Nature, and as well as just exercise and having an active lifestyle. If you guys are, maybe having struggles with that where you currently live, where there's just not that much out there to embrace that lifestyle, or even better, there aren't that many other people in your community that also are like-minded and think that way, Colorado, you guys are going to find your tribe. You're going to find the people out there that are similar to you when it comes to that, because so many of us embrace that. I love in Denver how there are so many activities to do, but also, and so many different organizations that you guys can join and be a part of to find those people without really trying too hard. The intramural sports here are phenomenal. For example, in the summertime, if you guys ever go out to Washington Park, which is one of the most popular parks in the Denver area, it's very, very big. In the summer, I think it's like Tuesday nights, they have the intramural volleyball league out there. And no joke, I bet there are over 100 volleyball nets up and hundreds of people playing. And that's just, one little example of this. So there's so many ways to connect with people, especially with social media and online these days, where you're able to also really find these people. And once you actually physically meet them, they're so aligned and similar. And so I guess just to kind of wrap up that lifestyle aspect into just like one sentence, Out here in Colorado and in Denver, you don't have to force it. It really just becomes your lifestyle. And that is so much easier to embrace and handle and be consistent with when it's just not something that's overwhelming. You really have to try hard to accomplish. So I love that about Colorado. I think it's probably one of the things that I don't think about as often, but I really do appreciate. I definitely hope you guys can at least give it an opportunity to see for yourselves. And then one last thing I'll kind of add to that. If you are considering coming out here, make sure you guys come out in a different time of year than maybe you did previously. So let's just say you're, really big skiers and you've come out to Colorado every winter and you love Colorado because of the skiing, but that's really the only time you've ever been out here. Well, maybe switch it up. Before you guys make that big decision, maybe try coming out here in the springtime or maybe the summertime and just see how different Denver can be all 4 seasons of the year. I love that about Denver because you always have something new to look forward to, and it's just always keeping life interesting and exciting and just dynamic. So really, really good advice hopefully for you guys too, to just check it out in a few different times a year. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you guys think if you are coming out for the first time in a new season. So hit me up after you guys do and let me know what you think. All right, and then last but not least, I just want to share one more with you guys, number 5. And this one's going to be a little bit more real estate related because maybe that's how you found me on YouTube and social media. Maybe that's what you guys are here for. So number 5, I want to talk about how there are so many different styles of housing available right now here in Denver, Colorado. So in the past, Denver was a little bit more limited, I'll say. There was kind of 2 buckets of homes. There was the older homes that were built maybe even close to 100 years ago. You'll find a lot of those like bungalows and single family ranch style homes, typically smaller in square footage, maybe even like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. There's so many of those older homes, a lot of them on the western side of Denver. So just to the west of downtown Denver, areas like Sloan Lake and Highlands, even parts of Edgewater and Wheat Ridge and Lakewood and Arvada. Well, all of that is one style that really was, one of the main types of homes back in the day, in addition to just new construction. Well, both of those definitely still exist today, but there are so many others that are also now popping up that really make a lot bigger menu to choose from. One example of this would be master plan communities. So master plan communities are basically just areas that have been developed with a lot of intention ahead of time when designing the entire neighborhood. Highlands Ranch is the biggest master plan community here in Colorado, but I actually live in one called Grant Ranch, and it's in Littleton. And I talk about it a lot on my channel because I love living here, and I love it because of some reasons that I never thought I would when I came over here. And one of those is just the fact that you have so much intentionality with the open space and the trails. And in Grant Ranch, we actually have a private lake that we can go paddleboarding and fishing and sailboating on. There's just a lot of activities that exist in your own backyard when you have a master plan community. And kind of think about this, if you live in an area that doesn't have a master plan community, there's obviously pros and cons to everything. A couple pros or positives if you aren't in an area like that. Number 1, you probably don't have a homeowners association, but also you probably are in an area where you might have to, get in your car or bike or at least make it an effort to go out and go to that trail or that park or that open space. You don't have it right in your backyard like you do in a master plan community. So I love that because you get off of work, or for my case, even just I take an hour-long break around lunchtime and I can just take my dog Charlie out for a walk, and I can just maximize my available free time because I'm not wasting half of it stuck in traffic trying to commute and go somewhere else. I love that about master plan communities. So that's another example of housing options that exist in Denver. Now, in addition to that master plan community style of home, it's also important to just talk for a second about, with Colorado, we're seeing a lot of growth when it comes to not only our population, but just the demand for styles of homes. So there's also a lot more condos, apartments. There's also a lot more townhomes than used to exist here. And there's just a lot of options. So if you guys are feeling a little bit maybe defeated at first when you go onto Zillow and you search Denver and you're not finding much, there might be a few little tricks that I can share with you to really expand that search and start to identify a few others that might be really fitting what you guys are looking for. So if you guys want help with that, again, I'll put my info down below. But these different types of housing are really exciting just because it's serving that larger audience and larger amount of people that have their own unique styles and preferences and demands. So I think that's something that Denver's doing a phenomenal job with, and it's only going to continue to get better, in my opinion. Now, the one last thing I'll kind of add to this specifically to real estate. Now, when you guys are looking at Denver on a map, obviously you can see that downtown Denver is kind of in the middle there. And then to the west of there, you have a few different suburbs, areas like Highlands and Sloan Lake, going even further over to the west, places like Wheat Ridge and even Applewood and Golden. What I wanted to get the point across here is that you have parts of Denver that are kind of maxed out. You know, there's just no ability to keep growing when you're limited in geographic borders. For example, the mountains are to the west. You can't build any further to the west, and maybe to the east with downtown Denver, you can't go any further to the east. So what's happening is people then are expanding more to the north and south, which are offering a ton more options, especially in areas like Arvada, which are a little bit to the north and northwest. And there's just a lot of great options up there that maybe 10, 15 years ago did not even exist. So some really, really exciting stuff happening right now, as well as in the near future. So just kind of want to leave you guys with that positive note that there is a lot of choices out here if you guys are considering coming out here to Colorado. So with that, let's close this video out. Again, you guys, recapping those 5 reasons I think are really, really important to be considering and keeping in mind if Denver is on your radar in 2026 or maybe even further out into the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, but more than anything else, I want you guys to know that I'm always here as a resource. I love connecting with anybody that's considering Denver, Colorado. I love this state. It's such a great place to live. And I wanted to end it with one last thing that I'm super, super excited about. I actually just published my first children's book. It's called Charlie's Big Move to Denver. And yes, it is a children's book, but I would love to really just put this in the hands of anybody that's considering moving out here. It really is a great, just quick and easy read. It's a story about my trusty sidekick, Charlie, and what it takes to move across the country and what it really means to have a home and not just a house. A lot of really good fundamentals, a lot of just good teaching lessons for kiddos, and I'd love to give you guys a free copy. So I'll put the link down in the show notes, and I'd love to send you guys a physical hard copy if you'd like one. So reach out, connect with me, and I'll send it to you. So with that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week, and thank you so much for watching another episode of Living in Denver. Don't forget, hit that like and that subscribe button, share this with a friend, and I'm excited to share a brand new episode with you guys next week on Living in Denver. I'll see you then. Bye.